Let's talk about sex. Once upon a time, the conversation was regulated to whispers behind closed doors. Nowadays, it's discussed openly and without shame. Funny enough, today there is one area of sex that, when discussed, still makes people, even the most open-minded, uncomfortable. And that's when we talked about abstinence. What is abstinence? It simply means choosing to voluntarily not engage in any sexual activity until marriage. Abstinence is the only 100% way not to become pregnant, to catch a sexually transmitted disease, and to maintain your sexual purity. There seems to be very little emphasis today on this subject in schools and in churches. The ideal of waiting until marriage has become somewhat of a punchline in this country. From the myth of the unrealistic abstinence-only education to the media's constant portrayal and mockery of young, nerdy, out-of-touch Christians, the message on abstinence being pumped through our pop culture is clear. If you wait until marriage, it's either because you're A, ugly, or B, you're a loser. Anything that is good for everyone involved, and especially if it's biblical, the world isolates it, targets it, and seeks to destroy it. Everywhere we look, it seems that everyone's doing it and enjoying every moment of it. TV and media paint a picture that meeting someone, jumping in the sack, and having sex with little to no consequences is normal. But studies show that people who wait until they're married to become sexually active have a higher chance of experiencing greater self-esteem, a higher standard of living, and a happier marriage. Listen, one doesn't need to be religious or a rocket scientist to see the value of waiting. People who don't wait are more likely to contract an STD, experience a premarital pregnancy, to be physically abused and depressed, and even attempt suicide. We all have a good idea of how many sexual partners we've had. But what about the partners that your partners have had? Even if your own number is low, the number of people you've been exposed to via indirect sexual contact is almost always higher, including countless people that you haven't met. Now, the size of this network can actually be estimated based on the number of your sexual partners and the average number of your partner's partners. Now, to understand this chart, consider this. Say you've had 5 sexual partners in your life. Those partners have had only 5 sexual partners themselves. So no big deal, right? Well, you'd be wrong. You have been indirectly exposed to over 19,000 partners. Now, to bring this on home, your sexual exposure equates to 9.88% of the population of Little Rock, Arkansas. Or to really drive home this point, it equates to the entire population of El Dorado, Arkansas, or any town with a population of about 19,000 people. Now, the urge to have sex is so great that we can think that there's no way to avoid it, so we shouldn't even try. I mean, it's natural, so why fight it? Well, you avoid giving in by not putting yourself in the position where you will give in. Never underestimate the power of hormones or feelings. So what does the Bible say about this? Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians 7:2, and it's a great place to start and finish on this subject. He says, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and every wife to have her own husband. Next time, we'll look at some of the common myths surrounding sex before marriage. But let me end on this note. God offers forgiveness from your past through His Son, Jesus Christ. But He expects you to start new right now. You can't undo the past, but you can take the steps needed to be the person God wants you to be. Girls, you are worth waiting for. Guys, be the man that sets the tone for your relationship. Wait, because God has something special for you.